Let's go back about 10 years ago. It's early in the morning, and you need a ride from your home to the airport. So you have to call a taxi. A taxi? Think about what you had to do back then compared to what you do today. You used to have to wait 45, 50 minutes for a taxi to show up, if they show up at all. Now you pull out your phone and you request an Uber. 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes on a bad day, Uber shows up and you're on your way. That's because Uber discovered waste in terms of car seats and created a digital marketplace to connect passengers with drivers. Now, Airbnb did something very similar. They discovered waste in terms of available rooms and created a digital marketplace to connect those rooms with people needing accommodations. Both these companies fundamentally changed consumer preference and behavior. They found a way to monetize waste. Now, we believe this directly applies to the grocery industry because we are leaving money on the table. Food waste in the United States is a $218 billion issue, and grocery retailers are responsible for $57 billion. Now, our solution is a digital marketplace that will connect closed-dated food with consumers and reduce retailers' waste by 20% within 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, we're excited to talk to you about our solution, a digital marketplace. My name is Colin Cavanaugh from Niagara Bottling. I'd like to introduce our team. Anu Raja from Mondelez, Chad Bursey from Cub, Rhea Gray from SuperValue, Robert Asensio from Northgate, and Mario Cruz from Costco. Today we're asking you to commit to reducing food waste, but more specifically, to commit the capital to develop a digital marketplace by 2020, which will reduce your food waste by 20%, decrease your shrink, and increase your profits. Now we're very excited today. We have a guest speaker. Anthony Bourdain is here to talk about our industry and how we can think differently.
I came up in an old school system, use everything, waste nothing.
In the United States, 40% of the food we produce is going to waste.
Food production is the single biggest cause of deforestation, water extraction, biodiversity loss. We are literally taking food out of the mouths of the hungry and sending food waste into landfill.
We don't need to produce more. We need to act different.
What does a chef do? They take something that's ugly and tough and transform it into something wonderful.
We need to harness people's obsession with food right now.
Wow. Oh my God. This is like the best thing I've ever had, ever.
It really does come down to what are our values as society? Tackling food waste doesn't need to be depressing. It's delicious.
This is something important.
We can do it.
We have the power to demand change from the food industry, and unless we shout about it, they'll never change.
We must change. We have to change. If we don't, the government and consumers will change our industry for us. So these are the items we're going to discuss today. First, consumers are looking for shifts in consumers in technology. They're adopting this technology in their daily decision-making. Second, this is a great opportunity for a branded digital marketplace to connect retailers with consumers. Third, we have a strong financial model that shows tremendous results. And finally, we need to lead this change. We can do it. We can do it together. Next, you'll hear more about changes in consumer preferences and behaviors.
So what has changed? Why is now the time to create a branded digital marketplace to address food waste? And in part, it's because we're beginning to see emerging solutions and new business models to help us solve the problems that have caused food waste to persist for so long. Take perfection, that often unattainable standard we set for ourselves in store. Well, consumers are telling us that perfect is overrated. Instead, they want real, authentic food with a story. And the proof is really in the produce with this one, because imperfect produce has come on the grocery scene and is offering produce for 30 to 50% less than traditional grocery store prices. And consumers are responding to this company, and the adoption rates are continuing to rise. They're responding to the fact that this company was built on the social mission of reducing food waste. In fact, on social media, the #1 complaint for imperfect produce is that the produce isn't imperfect enough, showing us that imperfect is perfectly fine after all. And then there's perfection's sibling, abundance. Right now, we all like full displays in our stores, but let's face it, sometimes we like them overflowing. But there is magic in scarcity too. And the grocery industry can take a page from the fashion industry on this one, because they've found a way to take their overstock or their potential waste and use flash sales to turn it into revenue. They say, get it now, get it at a discount, or it'll be gone. And they've created excitement with their consumer and the thrill of the deal. And in the meantime, they've also driven increased trips to their site and loyalty with their consumers. It's exciting to see these emerging solutions to the problems of perfection and abundance that have caused food waste to persist for so long. But they wouldn't be possible without the fundamental shifts that we're seeing in consumer behavior. You've heard it today. Consumers are changing, and the digital revolution is upon us. In the US, the average adult is spending 5.6 hours per day on digital media, and over half of that is on mobile. Mobile first is an absolute must, and as you'll see, it's a key piece of our digital marketplace. And digital marketplaces like Uber and Airbnb are just two examples of how digital marketplaces are changing how consumers eat, shop, and live. But not only are consumers changing, they're challenging more as well. And they're challenging businesses to operate in a more circular economy. No longer is it okay to take, make, and dispose. Instead, consumers are challenging businesses to take, make, use, find a way to reuse, and even repair if possible. Consumers are not the only ones challenging, however, because government regulation is tightening as well. In 2015, we saw the USDA and the EPA partner on their first ever food waste reduction goal of 50% by 2030. And in 2016, we saw France take even bolder steps by banning it in supermarkets altogether. Consumer activism is growing, and government regulation is tightening, and the cost of not acting can be incredibly high. But the proof, it's in more than just the produce, because there are retailers we'll share with you today that are doing just that and turning their waste into wealth.
The digital revolution is here, and it is fundamentally changing our retail landscape, and it is changing the way that our consumers eat, shop, and live. The time is now for us to connect the dots and create a fully integrated, fully branded digital marketplace to help turn that food waste into wealth. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever walked into the back room of one of your stores, maybe the dairy cooler, and discovered 10, 15 cases of yogurt approaching code? I know I have in my 30 years. Or have you ever had to force out product after a sale because sales didn't quite hit projections, and so now we're going to force product out because it's becoming close-coded? I've seen that happen as well. So what typically happens in that solution? We're going to put that product on a manager special. Hopefully we'll sell it for cost, but most likely we won't. We'll put it below cost because we're trying to sell it. We're going to take down our marketing plan that we've designed to drive sales, so we're going to pull off the Minute Maid orange juice or the Tropicana orange juice. We're going to put close-dated yogurt on display, and we're going to hope the customer buys it, and we're going to hope the customer realizes it, that it's marked down because it's close-coded, and don't just assume that we're selling short-coded product. What if there was a better solution? What if instead we created a digital platform and posted that yogurt to our flash sale? Let's say for simple math examples that this yogurt was 50 cents and usually retails for $1, and we're able to now put it at 75 cents, 25 cents above cost. We've now captured that 75 cents, 25 cents in margin, and 50 cents in cost, plus we haven't had to destroy our marketing roadmap for that week. Which solution do you like better? The concept of a digital marketplace already exists in Europe. Two companies, No Food Wasted and Food Loop, have created marketplaces that have put local grocery stores in contact with their customers to help reduce the food waste in their store level. Of particular note is No Food Wasted. No Food Wasted, based in Denmark, has created a digital platform that within 8 months of a trial has had 20,000 users sign up to use the app. Additionally, stores that are participating in the program have reported an 18 to 25% reduction in food waste at their stores. And perhaps most importantly, these companies are also acknowledging increased loyalty and customer trips. And the loyalty is coming because their customers want to do something about the food waste issue in society. While this is a great place to start, we believe that you can better tailor it to your individual companies.
Our digital marketplace will connect consumers with your close-dated product via flash sale. How we envision this working in store is you select a shrink clerk who has entrepreneur experience and will own this from beginning to end. Each morning, they'll walk the departments, they'll pull close-dated product, and they'll push it to the digital marketplace. Your consumers have downloaded your push notifications from your app, and they're eagerly awaiting for what's going to be on the marketplace. They're looking at their phone, they see the items, and they see the quantities quickly dwindling as they're trying to decide what they should purchase. So they either come to your store very quickly to purchase the close-dated product, or they purchase it on the digital marketplace. Your shrink clerk will then pull the product if they purchase on the digital marketplace and set it aside for the customer to come pick it up. Or they'll come to your store, and you'll have a designated session for this close-dated product. When they get to the store, what if we could sell them one more item? For example, you have imperfect strawberries sitting in the back room. If you put them out on your flash sale, you're able to cross-merchandise it with Ready Whip and strawberry shortcake shells. So you've created a meal solution for that customer when they come in. You've also added items to the basket. We think this is revolutionary for our industry, but the fashion industry has already done this already. For example, Nordstrom. They use HotLook, their digital marketplace, to push excess quantities of clothing to their customers. Let's take a look at how their customer interacts.
My routine? Gym, coffee, HotLook. Every day, I can't wait to see what's new. Great brands, all at amazing prices. Monday was full of must-haves. Tuesday was about changing up his look. Today, don't know yet. But I do know that my day hasn't really started until I've gone to HotLook.
Everything you want for less than you can imagine. All at one fashionable address, HotLook.com.
While our grocery industry may not be as glamorous as the fashion industry, why not? Why can't we harness the consumer's need for food and their passion of food right now and do something about our waste and help our profits? One thing that we've been doing incorrectly is we've been branding close-dated product with an ugly manager special sticker and stick it in a dingy little corner in the case because we really don't want anybody to see it, that we have it, and we just kind of hope it sells. What if we rebranded it, similar to Flash Food in Canada? They took a model and they branded it very sleek, modern, up-to-date, and we actually had a place in store that the consumer knows every time they come there, it's their Flash Food product. You no longer have to take the Tropicana or the Minute Maid off display. You're no longer sacrificing sales on higher gross profit items. And then you brand this and let the consumers know that you're doing something about the environment. You're helping to eliminate food waste, and you're being transparent. While we have not forgotten about our wholesalers and CPGs, we believe we can turn our waste into wealth.
While we believe that a fully branded, fully integrated digital marketplace is a solution for the retailers in the room, we realize that we're not all retailers here today. If you're a CPG organization or a wholesaler, there are digital marketplace solutions that can apply to you as well. One current example is Food Maven. Food Maven puts businesses in touch with other businesses who are trying to move close-dated, long-on, or sometimes imperfect product to other restaurants, retailers, or even other wholesalers. If a sale is not found, Food Maven will also connect those businesses with local charities, helping to reduce hunger in the neighborhood and preventing the need for costly disposal and landfill costs around food waste. Speaking of business-to-charity solutions, another example is Food Cloud based in Ireland. Food Cloud has partnered with industry leaders such as Lidl, Tesco, and Aldi to virtually eliminate all food waste from going to landfills in Ireland. They do this through an app solution. Local grocery stores will post their food waste on the app. Local charities sign up for this product, and then they'll go to the stores, pick it up, and bring it to those in need, helping to feed the hungry in Ireland. And, most importantly, reducing the need to send that product to the landfill. We have shown that the digital marketplace creates value for all stakeholders within the supply chain. If you are a consumer, you're gaining value and convenience. If you're a retailer, you're getting increased loyalty and profit. And if you're a supplier, you're getting better use of your trade dollars, and you're also having cross-merchandising opportunities. And while these are all really great values, it is important to know that the financial returns on this model far outweigh the cost of implementation and maintenance.
So there's been a lot of conversation, excuse me. There's been a lot of conversation about benefits, but we're expecting a very strong financial return. We're expecting to generate a net savings of $10.2 million with an initial investment of $290,000. But with a positive cash flow, within the first 15 months. Our model is based on a 100-store chain at $500,000 weekly sales per store, with the total store shrink at 2.7% and a food waste rate at 1.1% of the gross sales. This will help us to deliver $15.7 million in savings at a cost of $5.5 million, with labor being approximately 80% of that cost. We've used a very conservative forecast to allow for retailers to be able to gradually save at 3% the first year and progressively getting better at 20% by year 5. That doesn't even take into account the additional savings that we did not place in our model, such as waste disposal and transportational costs. That doesn't also take into account the additional revenue sales opportunities with cross-merchandising in store and getting those extra impulses, as Rhea had spoken about. So let's talk about cost. And the perspective, it's all about building, marketing, and maintaining the digital marketplace. With building, we've already placed the web development as well as the in-store asset cost with the initial $290,000 investment. But if a company already has those internal resources in play and able to develop that web application, then the cost would be significantly much lower. As far as marketing, there's 2 essential elements that need to be put in play, and that's the in-store signage and exterior marketing that will help build awareness and trial. As far as maintaining the digital marketplace, we've also put in the maintenance and the labor costs in our model. We also have established an implementation timeline for a full launch of a digital marketplace by 2020, where a retailer would be able to follow a 4-step process within 18 months, where the retailer were to be able to gain resources, support, build a framework of the digital marketplace, do the final testing of the stores, and then eventually launch. So considering our strong financial model, isn't it time for your company to turn that waste into wealth?
The real question here is who's going to be first? Who is going to embrace technology and the creation of a digital marketplace? Make no mistake, food waste is a revenue opportunity for all of us. The creation of a digital marketplace, correctly branding food, and flash sales is a viable solution for everyone in this room to utilize. Consumer behavior has changed. Information is literally at everyone's fingertips. So why not help them find those deals, create consumer loyalty, and increase customer shops? Gen Z and millennials embrace technology, transparency, and social consciousness. But yet we are all part of this digital revolution. So do we not have a responsibility to end this problem, this $218 billion problem? The grocery industry in itself is responsible for $57 billion worth of waste. We throw $57 billion away each and every year, while 1 in 8 Americans does not know where their next meal is coming from. Worse yet, 1 in 4 Americans does not know where their next meal is coming from 1 mile from where we are right now. This issue is on the radar of the USDA and the EPA. It's just a matter of time before they levy laws against us, forcing us to eliminate that food waste. But we believe, strongly believe, that a digital marketplace combined with your expertise is going to be far more effective than any legislation. So what are we truly asking you to commit to? We are asking you to commit the capital to create a digital marketplace that pays for itself in 15 months and reduces food waste by 20% over the next 5 years. The question is, what's changed? Technology, digital information, and the creation of a digital marketplace. This issue, food waste, has plagued the grocery industry for many years. We are a for-profit industry, yet we throw food and money away each and every day. We have connected the dots to create a solution that everyone in this room can utilize. So why not join us, create that marketplace, and let's end this $57 billion issue. Let's take what Anthony Bourdain said. Let's take the ugly and make it beautiful. Or better yet, why don't we take the ugly and make it profitable? We are Team Waste to Wealth. We thank you for your time, and we welcome your questions.
Go
ahead. Here
you go.
You guys did a great job, and I have a question. It seems as though you're recommending that we do a retailer-specific type of program. I was wondering if you had considered maybe doing an industry-wide app that would just send you to whatever retailer had the product with short dates.
It's a good idea across the industry, and that's kind of the conversation we want to start today, is getting retailers on the same plan and working together. I think initially we'll probably start something off what is in place now for retailers. We can expand on that later. It can be educational goals later. That's another part of the value chain that the consumers are wasting a lot. It can be an educational item. I think that'd be further down the road, getting everyone on board first, but that's a great broad perspective, and it'd be long term. Thank you.
Hi there, great job on your presentation. I was wondering, in your studies, while you were looking at how to turn waste to wealth, our companies here are also very charitable in giving to food banks and trying to feed people that are hungry. Do you know about what percentage, did you find out about what percentage of the food that we donate is what we wasted, is considered waste, or did you count that in?
We don't have the exact percentage. We know that that's something that retailers sometimes don't always advertise. They don't want to let people know how much they're wasting. That's part of this concept, is that that's something we can reach out to the community with and let them know that these are great ways that make it popular, that we're helping people. We're also increasing the retailers' profits. But the exact percentage, we don't have that, but we can look it up and get back to you for each retailer.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi. You guys did an excellent job. I have a question related to how you did your intro. So you talked about Uber and Airbnb, and I think it's obviously very appropriate with the idea that you're coming up with, but something about both of their stories sticks out to me as it relates to this, and that's the fact that both of them, to some extent, ignored regulators in order to build enough mass and appeal with customers to overrule regulators in some cases in cities. So how do you think that might apply to this? Obviously, food safety is a big concern. In order to get scale, I assume you might have to be partnered with somebody that's willing to, take some legal risk, which we're not known for in this industry.
Right. Certain regulatory and risks that go with starting something like this that is completely different, just like Uber and Airbnb. It's changing preferences, but it's also working together within the industry, influencing our government, FMI, other influencers that would start the conversation. We're not denying the fact that there's risks. That'll certainly be something we'll have to look into, but I think long-term this will be something consumers and retailers that can look into. It's a great solution.
I think if I can just add to that, the one thing I would say is that while there were regulatory issues in those industries, we actually don't face similar ones necessarily in ours, because we're doing this today, as Rhea mentioned, in the store with the manager special sticker. I think really what we see is taking the model and sort of the way that they've made adoption of those type of digital marketplaces commonplace and bringing it to our industry. So I think that we'll face a little bit less regulation than they did, but it's really about taking that behavior that's been adopted very strongly by the public and bringing it to this industry.